Hi everyone, I'm Jones and welcome to my channel. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I usually talk about vegan recipes, vegan cooking, or some archaeology, but today I'm doing something a little bit different because in a few days I am going to turn 51 years old. So this whole last year I have been 50 years old and I've experienced a lot of changes in my life. Some very positive changes and some maybe not so positive, but to be expected. And I just wanted to share some of my experience with you as a 50-year-old vegan. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to share this on a platform such as YouTube is because there are a lot of young people posting videos about their glamorous lives and their health and living a vegan lifestyle and all of that. But they're young, they're just starting out their lives. Their health in general is probably a lot better than a 50-year-old. So having been vegetarian for 32 years and vegan for the last 2 years, I just wanted to show how I am 50 and thriving and living a healthy lifestyle and seeing a lot of positive changes in my life. I don't feel like there are enough older people represented on YouTube and the lifestyles that they're living and the changes that they're going through. Of course, when you're young, you don't think a lot about what's going to happen down the line, what kind of things you're going to experience, or health issues that are going to come up. And when you're young, you also tend to look at people who are 50, you know, say you're 20, looking at a 50-year-old and thinking, oh, they're really old. You know, when I'm 50, I'm gonna be so old. And I want to break that spell because 50 does not mean that it's the beginning of the end of your life. I view it more as the beginning of the second half of my life. And in fact, when I turned 50, I really felt like it was sort of a rebirth, and that is how I have viewed it. And I think that really helps my attitude and staying young, not only in my body, but my mind and what I project outwards as well. Most people don't think that I'm 50 years old when I meet them. They have no idea how old I am. Most people think that I'm in my 30s or early 40s. Very rarely, if ever, would anyone guess that I was actually 50 years old. They're usually quite shocked when I tell them. And I have to chalk that up to some different things like diet and exercise and living a healthy lifestyle, but also cultivating a good attitude through meditation and yoga and just different things that I do, and just keeping a young attitude. I mean, technically, I don't feel like I'm 50. I usually feel like I am still maybe like in my late 20s or early 30s. And it's hard for me to even believe sometimes that I'm 50 and about to be 51. So I am headed into my 50s as we speak. So some of the things I'm going to talk about are changes that I've seen in my body, including my hair and my skin and different kinds of aches and pains, and how I am staying physically fit and healthy, and how I've been doing on a vegan diet and trying to lose weight. I did start menopause officially this year, so that has affected a lot of things as well, and I'll talk a little bit about that and things I'm doing to balance my hormones and stay calm and not experience those menopausal symptoms. Sorry if my eyes kind of tear up a little bit. Maybe that's one of the things of aging, is that my eyes have gotten drier and they water a lot, especially when the air is cold, which it is right now. I'm also going to talk a little bit about changes in my life in general and my career in particular. because I did go back to school when I was 40 and got my bachelor's degree and then my master's degree and then began a career in archaeology. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So I realize this video isn't for everyone. I hope that you'll stick around and watch it, but if not, I have lots of vegan recipe videos and archaeology videos that you can watch instead, and I'll see you in the next one. But if you are sticking around, remember to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a comment below. Tell me a little bit about your experience. Are you 50 or over? What are some of the changes that you have experienced in your life? And remember to subscribe to my channel. Hit that red button, and if you hit the bell, you get notified every time I post a new video. We have lots to talk about, so let's get started. So, of course, when you get older, you start seeing physical changes in your body, and that includes hair and skin. In fact, those are probably two of the biggest markers that show your age. Gray hairs, which I have gotten plenty of. I started getting those when I was about 40 years old, and at first I got this streak, which is not really showing today, but I kind of like it. It's sort of witchy, and I've actually gotten a lot of compliments on it. People have asked me if I dyed it that way, you know, if it was natural, and I was like, well, of course it's natural, but thanks for the compliment. But I have noticed just in the last year actually that I'm getting a lot more silver hairs in the front, especially if I pull my hair back, I can really see all those gray hairs. And with that streak there, if I actually parted my hair down the middle, it would just be completely white on top. And I found that if I did that, it really does age me a few years. So I don't part it down the middle anymore. I keep it parted on the side, and when that little streak is showing, it really kind of makes me happy. The other thing is wrinkles, and that's something that I haven't had too much of a problem with, which I think is partly genetics. Both my parents stayed very young looking, you know, as they aged, but I have seen a few wrinkles. Of course, I have some laugh lines around my eyes, and these lines here have deepened a bit, and then I have some wrinkles here, which are probably the deepest wrinkles that I have. And part of that has to do with acne scarring. Now, I had a lot of problems with acne, particularly as a teenager, but it lasted well into my adulthood until I was about 40 years old. And when I was 40 was when I really started to see a lot of changes starting to happen that just progressed over the next 10 years. But one of those was that my acne finally cleared up. And yes, I do get the occasional zit, but it's very, very occasional. And at the time, I thought it was that I finally found the right combination of cleanser and moisturizer and makeup, and that, you know, something that my skin wasn't sensitive to, because I always had a lot of problems with sensitivity to certain products, and I only used natural products. And looking back on it, I think that may have had something to do with it at the time, but I think the bigger factor in that was just that my hormones were changing, and I was producing less of those particular type of hormones, and so my skin cleared up. So I'm not expecting any more zit breakouts, but I anticipate a few more wrinkles coming my way. But I do find that my skin is drier overall. Of course, living in Colorado, the air is really dry, and so dry skin has always been a problem, but I really do think that my skin is drier now. And also, I have experienced some hair loss. Now, you may not think that. I do still have a lot of hair, but when I was younger, I had even more. and when it would get really long like this, it would just at some point get really out of control because there was just so much hair, and I would end up cutting it off. But now I'm not really having that problem so much. So if I was somebody who didn't have a lot of hair to begin with, it would probably be a problem for me. But since I have a ton of hair still, I'm not really too worried about it. But going back to the grays for a second, I just wanted to get your opinion because I am getting more gray hairs, and like I said, it really ages me when it shows. And so for the past few years, I have considered dyeing my hair. Now, I wouldn't dye it just like a normal color. I would probably go for some crazy color like red or purple. Back when I was a teenager, I used to dye my hair all kinds of different colors. Of course, to get a really true color, you have to bleach out your hair if your hair is dark like mine. But since I have these silver hairs that are light in color, I'm hoping that if I dyed it red or purple or something like that, that those colors would really show up and it could look really cool. So I haven't made a decision yet because I haven't dyed my hair in almost 30 years. Maybe I could use like a temporary color, but what do you think? If you think I should dye my hair or not, leave a comment below and let me know what color you think I should do. I generally do like, you know, reds or purples. I don't think I would ever do a blue or green. It's just not me. So as far as my physical body goes, we're talking aches and pains here because everyone knows that as you get older, you start getting more aches and pains, all those old injuries start coming back to haunt you, and it just starts getting harder to move around. And I have definitely found that that's true. I have injured myself quite a bit. I, was just a klutz when I was younger, and I didn't like break a lot of bones. I have fractured my foot once, and I probably fractured my ankle once. I didn't have any other like broken bones, just a lot of falling. I had a back injury when I was about 21, 22 that I never really took care of for a long time, and then years later I finally went to get chiropractic treatment because I was having severe back pain after breaking my foot, and that really helped a lot. And I had also been experiencing a lot of arthritis in my hands because I have been doing beadwork and jewelry making for 25 or more years, and at the time I was making a living doing it, so that means that I was making jewelry and doing these things called hair wraps, 6 to 8 hours a day, and it was really taking a toll on my hands. I not only felt like I had arthritis, but carpal tunnel as well. I had a pain that started in my thumb right here and went all the way up my arm and up my neck and down the back of my spine. And it was very painful, but when I got the chiropractic treatment, it actually relieved all that pain. So there must have been like some kind of pinched nerve going on. So yeah, I definitely recommend chiropractic treatment if you're experiencing different kinds of pains. At least check it out, maybe get an x-ray and find out what was going on, because I was shocked when they did an x-ray and my spine was just totally messed up. It was like zigzagging all over the place. My hips were like this. My neck bent the wrong way. Like I think it bends, this way, and it was bent this way. And I had a hump on my back. And yeah, a year and a half of chiropractic treatment fixed all of that. And I don't have the aches and pains that I was having then now. I mean, yeah, I do still have some aches and pains, but I think I was actually worse off in my 20s than I am now. Of course, these days when I have a lot of aches and pains, usually from doing archaeology, I get rolfed. And a lot of people don't know what rolfing is. It's pretty intense. I kind of think it's sort of a mix between a super intense massage and a little bit of chiropractic, but not the kind where they jerk you around a lot. It's just manipulating the muscles, and it really works. It hurts when you're getting it done, but it does work. So despite that, I am currently experiencing some arthritis in my hands, and that is pretty much completely due to the archaeological work that I did this summer. I was excavating, and that involves a lot of troweling with your hand, pushing things through a screen with your hand, shoveling and lifting heavy buckets of dirt, and lots of those every single day. And I tried to take care of my hands the best that I could, but I started having problems with stiffness. Some mornings I wake up and I can't bend my hands any more than this. Right at the moment they're a little more flexible. I still can't make a complete fist, like a really tight fist, but this morning they're feeling a lot more flexible than usual. So I'm working on that. I massage my hands. I got some CBD salve that I rub into them, and I do little hand exercises. And of course, doing that rolfing helps as well, because he told me that when that happens, it's usually because of some kind of pinched nerve, and the rolfing helps relieve that. I've also had a lot of aches in my knees. They're very crunchy when I bend down or when I'm doing something on my knees. And I have to move a lot slower than I used to. But again, I did have a knee injury a few years ago when I was in Mexico. I tripped over a vendor's table that was low to the ground, and I fell straight on my knees. I'm constantly falling on my knees. I've been a klutz ever since I was a kid, and I have fallen on my knees a lot, and I have the scars to prove it. And so all that is coming back to haunt me, and yeah, now I have some knee issues, but I do a lot of yoga, and I think that helps. So in general, I live a fairly active lifestyle. I've had periods in my life, especially when I was raising kids, where I really wasn't that active and I gained a lot of weight. And I've struggled with weight pretty much my entire life, even though I eat a really healthy diet. And I have been trying to figure that out for years, because you see a lot of vegans on YouTube who went vegan and they lost 100 pounds or whatever. And of course, they're probably in their 20s, and I lost a lot of weight when I went vegan in my 20s, but now I'm 50 and it's a little harder. So just going on a vegan diet alone and even maintaining an active lifestyle has not helped me that much to lose weight. It's helped me maintain it better, but I find that I have to exercise a lot, and I really have to watch what I eat and how much I eat, which is the bigger part of the problem, because I love to eat and I like to eat a lot. So I really have to watch those portions and spread things out during the day and eat just the right things at each meal to keep me sustained, so that I don't do a lot of snacking in between. But my job as an archaeologist keeps me pretty active, but it's not like exercising. Yes, I am active. Yes, I am burning calories, but I do work up a big appetite and tend to eat a little too much. And so I have to do more exercise on the side. I do yoga every single morning. as soon as I get up. That's what I do before I do anything else. And then I usually try to get in at least one other form of exercise during the day. That might be doing some strength training. I recently joined a gym for the first time. The only other gym I had ever been to was the one at the university I was attending, and that's been a few years. So I finally bit the bullet and joined a gym, and I'm enjoying using some of their strength exercise machines and various different types of balls and equipment that they have. And I also have some 5-pound weights that I use at home. I love to watch Jessica Smith workouts. She combines cardio with strength, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy those workouts, and she does work you, but not too hard. I mean, it's doable for a 50-year-old woman like me. And I recently have been revisiting a diet that I did a year or two ago. I have some vlogs on that. They were some of the first videos I ever posted on YouTube, which is called the Zero Belly Diet. And it's not necessarily a vegan diet. He promotes eating a lot of eggs, but I find other things to replace the eggs. And for me, it's just sort of a general guideline as to, you know, how I should be combining my foods at each meal, and some suggested meal plans, and how much exercise I should be getting. And he has some exercise routines in the book. And so it's something just to kind of help me keep on track. I'm not following the diet super strictly, but I have been seeing results. After a summer of working really, really super hard, I didn't lose any weight until the very, very end. The last month, I lost 4 pounds. And then after that project was done and I have a new job where I'm pretty sedentary, I immediately gained that 4 pounds back. And since starting this diet, I have steadily lost 1 pound every week. And I do feel like my muscles are a lot more firm. You know, I'm getting in shape. So I think I'm doing it right this time. And I think that later on I'll be doing another weight loss vlog where I will give you some more updates on that. But losing weight is definitely harder the older you get, especially for women. And like I said, I have started menopause, and you know, that just creates a lot of physiological changes that make it harder to lose weight. And I'm not going to go into all that right now. That would make this vlog super long, and I think it's probably going to be long enough already. But just suffice it to say that it's harder to lose weight when you're 50. So let's talk a little bit more about menopause. Now, there are a lot of symptoms associated with menopause that everyone knows about, like hot flashes and mood swings and things like that, gaining weight. But I really haven't experienced too much of that. I have had what could be considered night sweats. I basically wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and I am really hot and sweaty, and I have to throw off the covers and turn on a fan, and sometimes I just have to get up and walk around and sort of cool myself down before I can get back under the covers. And this is even on a cold night. But I was experiencing more of that earlier this year, and at some point I started taking CBD as a tincture. I mainly wanted to take it for my arthritis that I talked about. So I was applying a CBD salve on my hands, and I was also taking a tincture. And a side effect of that is that it also helps you with sleep. And so it was helping me with sleep. Another thing was ashwaganda, and I've written a whole article on ashwaganda. It's on my blog, veggerarchy.com, if you want to check that out. but it helps with stress and hormone balance, among other things. The reason I started taking it was because I heard that it was helpful for women going through menopausal symptoms and for hormone balance in general, even for younger women. And so I started taking that, and I really saw some results. I just felt calmer than ever. I just, that and a combination of meditation and yoga, I think has really just chilled me out. And maybe because I just don't have so many hormones running through my body, but I just feel so mellow and happy all the time. It's really hard to make me angry these days or get myself worked up about anything. I just sort of take things in stride and stay calm and happy. And yeah, ashwagandha is great if you're feeling stressed or if you're having some hormonal issues. So I think that's really helped, the fact that I haven't had any real bad menopausal symptoms. My night sweats seem to have gone away for now, and I don't ever experience hot flashes during the day. I don't have big mood swings. It's just not happening. The past couple of years, especially once I graduated with my master's degree and started my career in archaeology, that was a big change for me. And especially finally graduating, it was just like, once I graduated, I was kind of like, what next? I mean, I had started my career in archaeology, but it was just like this thing that I had been doing for the last 10 years and this goal that I had been working towards, and all of a sudden it was done and wasn't a part of my life anymore. And I was just kind of like, did this really happen? I didn't attend the graduation ceremony because I had done that for my bachelor's degree, and I really wasn't interested in doing it again. And we didn't have really like a tight-knit cohort of people that were graduating at the same time, so I didn't feel like it was really necessary. But looking back, I wish I had, because I think that would have been just sort of a completion for me, and a real like, yes, it's done, here's your diploma, here's your cap, you're done. Instead, I felt like I was kind of left hanging for a while, and I finally got over that, but I'm still sort of finding my way. Archaeology is really different from a lot of careers in that you sort of go from job to job to job. It's a lot of contract work, and you have to build up the experience before you are able to land a full-time position anywhere. And you often have to travel a lot. Even if you are full-time, you may have to relocate, or you may still have to travel a lot. So it has been something to get used to, and every time a job ends, if I don't have another one lined up, I tend to get a little bit depressed, especially if I haven't worked in a while. The depression can start to set in, but like I said, I've been taking my ashwagandha, and it really does help a lot with that, and meditation helps a lot. I've only really developed a real meditation practice in the last year or so. I meditated here and there since I was in my 20s, but it was never really a regular practice. Now, I have had a regular yoga practice for quite some time, and I consider that to be a form of meditation, especially because I follow Yoga with Adrienne. I do a lot of her routines, and she usually starts out and sometimes ends with just sort of a moment of being quiet and closing your eyes and going within and being grateful for things in your life and just grounding yourself in that. And I think that has really helped me a lot. But now I've added an actual meditation practice to that, and that has really just bumped things up to another level where I can handle things that come at me a lot better and know that the universe has my back and I am being guided towards the things that I need, and that I am taken care of, that I am prosperous and abundant, and I have a good life and lots of things to be thankful for. So, career changes. Like I mentioned, I got my master's degree in 2017. I got my bachelor's degree in 2012, so I actually went back to school when I was 40. I had an associate's degree in art. I'd had that for several years, but as soon as I graduated from the community college and got my associate's degree, a lot of things changed in my life. Shortly afterwards, I was separated from my husband for a while, and then we got back together, and then I became pregnant with my second son, and then I had him, but in the process, during the time that I was pregnant, I split up with my husband, and which did ultimately end in divorce. But I also bought a house, and I got my finances together, and I decided it was time to go back to school. So when I went back to school, my youngest son was about 3 years old, and my older son must have been like 11 or 12. But it was something that I had been wanting to do for a really long time, and I felt like I finally kind of got my ducks in a row and was able to do that. The thing was that I didn't exactly know what I wanted to study, and that's one of the things that had kept me from pursuing a bachelor's degree in the past, was because I knew it was a lot of investment in time and money, and I didn't want to waste that time and money on a degree that I didn't need and that I wasn't passionate about. And so I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to pursue as a degree or a career, and I had been making jewelry and selling it, both retail and wholesale, and basically working a lot of retail for pretty much my whole life up until that point. I'd been making jewelry for about 20 years or so at that point, and sometimes I made a living off of that, sometimes it was just part-time, but I was wanting to incorporate symbols into my jewelry that reflected my own heritage. Now, I'm half Mexican, and my dad used to always tell us that we were Aztec. Sorry, Dad, but it turns out that that's not true. But regardless, I started to explore symbols from Aztec and Maya culture, and in the process of doing that, I started learning so much about the archaeology and the cultures of Aztec and Maya, and just got kind of obsessed with it. And then I ended up taking a trip to the Yucatan with some friends, and when I saw the ruins there, I just was like, I have to be a part of this somehow. I don't know how I'm gonna do this or what I'm gonna do, but I need this to be a part of my life. And so later that year, I had decided to go back to school, and I was looking through the course catalog of UCCS, that's University of Colorado, and came across archaeology classes. And I was like, whoa, archaeology classes? Are you kidding me? You know, what major is that? And it wasn't archaeology. The major is actually anthropology. And when I looked into what anthropology was, which is the study of culture, and I remembered I had taken a Native American anthropology class years and years and years beforehand and loved it, I was like, yeah, I can get on board with that. I am going to go for anthropology and archaeology. And I did it. I got into college, and once I started in that program, I knew that I was in exactly the right place. I loved studying archaeology and anthropology. I loved being in school, and I did really well and graduated with a 3.9. But when I graduated, I didn't get a job in archaeology right away, and I also didn't get into graduate school right away. I got in a year later, but I just felt that I wasn't finished. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to do more, and I knew that to really make it in archaeology, you really needed to have at least a master's degree, if not a PhD. And so I did go back to graduate school, and that proved to be a lot more difficult than getting a bachelor's degree, especially because I was going to school in Denver. I went to UC Denver, which meant that I had to commute to Denver from Colorado Springs, and I still had kids at home even though they were getting older, and it was very difficult, but I did it, and I have been working in archaeology for the last 3 years or so, and even though it still has its challenges that I talked about before, it has been very fulfilling, and I love it, and I am looking forward to going further in that career. Of course, in the meantime, I started things like this YouTube channel and a food blog, and that was partly because I had been wanting to start a blog for several years and just didn't know how to do it. And then I kind of discovered YouTube and all these amazing videos on there, people sharing vegan recipes and people sharing how to make videos and how to make money off of videos and a blog and all that. I really had never thought of doing a blog as making money, but apparently you can make money. I haven't made any money off of it yet. But it's something I enjoy doing. I love cooking and I love sharing recipes, and I've always had people ask me for recipes, so this is my way of sharing what I know and sharing good food and good health. So you should subscribe and check out my blog, veggerarchy.com. So yeah, I am doing a lot of things. My oldest son is now 22. He went up to go to school at Colorado State University in Fort Collins, and he still lives up there with his girlfriend. And my youngest son is 14. He is a freshman in a high school this year, and he is doing really well and doing great in school, and he's just a great human being. And so I feel like, pretty accomplished as a mom at this point. Like, I've done a pretty good job as a mom, and I only have 4 years to go until my son is graduated, and then I can just be free. Yay! Then I'll probably start having grandchildren. I also am in a great relationship. I got together with my current partner about a year or so after I had split up with my husband, so shortly after I had had my second son. So he's kind of been around for my son's entire life, and he's only lived with us for the past few years, but today, which is Halloween of all days, we are celebrating our 14th anniversary. Now, we're not married, and it's just one of those things where people are always like, you've been together that long and you're not married? And I'm like, well, you know, I sort of been there, done that. I don't see any need to get married at this point right now. It really would just be more of a ceremonial thing, which I'm totally into, but we just haven't, you know, bothered to do that yet. I think we will at some point, but for right now, we're happy with things the way they are, and that's good. We have a really great relationship, and he helps a lot with my son and pretty much treats him as if he were his own son, and his parents treat my son as their grandson, and so all is good and well in the relationship department, and I really see myself being with him for the rest of our lives. So anyway, I know I have blabbed on for quite some time now. I hope you stuck with the video and got something out of it. If you're not 50 yet, if you're going into your 40s or 50s and just wondering what to expect, I hope this helped give you an idea and maybe will motivate you to take care of yourself, to find some kind of spiritual practice like meditation or yoga, to seek out some natural alternatives to drugs that will help you relieve pain or to calm your nerves or soothe anxiety or lessen those menopausal symptoms. If you're interested, I have a link to some really great ashwagandha down in the description box below. You should check it out because it's really good stuff and it really has helped me a lot. I just put some in my matcha latte that I make every morning and I'm good to go. I also highly recommend using CBD tincture. You know, this is something that's new but popping up everywhere, and I don't know if it's available everywhere. Of course, marijuana and marijuana-based products are legal in Colorado, but they're not legal in every state. And although CBD usually does not contain any THC, some of it does, and sometimes some states don't even allow that. They don't want anything that has any kind of cannabis in it. So if you live in one of those states, I'm sorry, come to Colorado, or don't. We have a lot of people coming here. It's getting too crowded. But I love it here and I am very happy, and I am looking forward to celebrating my 51st birthday very soon. And if it's your birthday coming up, happy birthday and peace. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.